and welcome to another episode of LOC On The Clock, your whistle-stop tour around everything going on in the LOC this week. I'm joined once again, as always, by Chris. How's it going, Chris?
I'm good. I'm coming into this pod with severe trepidation, Nathan. I'm not going to lie. It is the start of the bipocalypse. It's the start of the eye-pocalypse, injury apocalypse, that is.
It
so,
is.
Let's have a look and see who got killed in week one.
In week 4.
5.
Yeah, week
4.
4.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see who gets killed in week 5 no doubt this week. But no, we'll start off with who got killed in week 4, and it's we'll start off with the marquee matchup last week, which was the podcast bowl, Chris, me v you. And speaking of who got killed, it was me because I'm getting the buzzer out for myself, 133 to 104. In favour of your team, and it didn't come at a cost injury-wise, as you very much say, because I lost Lamar Jackson to a hamstring in this one. He only scored 13. Wouldn't have made the difference in the game. Potentially might have made it closer, but very much wouldn't have turned out. But you did, however, lose Tyreek Hill for the season to a fairly ugly-looking knee injury, Chris. Looking at the starting lineups, obviously Mahomes very much. We didn't call out in the preview, but it was a battle of the quarterbacks in our matchup here, and Mahomes decisively won that with his 35 points. And then you had lots of other good scores across the board as well, as we can see there, and some decent D scoring as well. My score obviously wasn't bad, just outpowered by your team, and obviously you didn't have Terry McLaurin either. So yeah, good day for you, Chris.
It was definitely maximised. I totally agree. Obviously, the one blemish on there was AJ Brown's absolute dud. But we're kind of getting used to that now. But it doesn't matter when you've got again 2 QB scores and some really handy high double digit teen scores. Then that's great, and even the defense chipped in. So. You can't really complain from that. I agree, though. Mahomes had a great day. Seen some vintage performance there with 4 TDs and 270 yards for 35 points. Whilst your side, I have to say, it's not a terrible day for you. Yes, Lamar got injured and wasn't his best and scored 12, but I thought the rest of your team was actually pretty punchy. I was worried for a while, and then Mahomes did that. Yeah, I wasn't quite worried after that. But again, if you're going to lose, you might as well score 100 points in doing so. As we keep saying, it takes 85 points a week to get into the playoffs, no matter what. So exactly. You can hang your head high on that. Bearing in mind that you'd have beaten quite a lot of the teams this week, as we're about to see.
Yep. Second time I've gone over 100, and second L I've come out with as a result of it. And to your point, when you go over 100 and your quarterback only scores 13, that's definitely still a good day at the office in my book. So we both did pick my team to win. You will be not so upset by getting that wrong. It's a double whammy for me, though. And the history of our matchup is 14-12 now, all time in your favour, I believe. We'll go to the next game then, which saw Tom's Tyrants face off against the Dream Team in the Corona Bowl 6 rematch. We both picked Tom's Tyrants in this one, and we both got this one right, so we back on at 500 for the pick'em in the week. 103 to 78. Jordan Love did turn up in the extremely exhilarating Dallas Green Bay game, which ended as a 40-all tie. What on earth? He got 32 points in fantasy. And then some other good points across the board. The Falcons D got 11 and Drake London got 17 in front of Tom's Eyes, which is always fun, obviously in Atlanta. And then a few other good scores from his key players. That albeit Joey's side did score -2, which was quite amusing, but it didn't matter. And then for Viv, talk about injuries. He lost Malik Neighbours in this one, so for the year as well to a torn ACL. Again, wouldn't have changed the result, but obviously makes it look slightly worse than it otherwise might have been. Mason, obviously being the bell cow, just had a rough day against Pittsburgh D, and Lam McConkey really continues to struggle. He probably up there for sort of busts of the year, I would say, Chris, but nothing on the bench that he could have done anything about. And the history of this one all time now, Tom's Tyrants are 13-7 all time against the Dream Team. Anything you want to add on this one, Chris?
Yeah, same. We should play the buzzsaw jingle for anyone who dies this week. So Malik Neighbours,
there you go.
buzzsaw.
Yeah. Have I got another jingle that would be good for an injury?
Wah, wah,
I've got
wah.
a thunderstorm. I've got that one, but I'm going to go with like the pathetic fallacy, the thunderstorm noises. I think that worked. Let's go with that. There we go.
Boom. So yeah, that's not going to do Viv's chances any good. And bearing in mind that that bench was looking pretty wafer thin anyway. Yeah, not ideal. So we talked about boom and bust teams, and Viv is a boom and bust team. Let's be frank. Let's say I got beat by him by a multi-100-point week, and then you get down to a grand total of 79 nearly. A few weeks after. I have to say that that was touchdown bereft that week. That was touchdown bereft. I think you're right about McConkie. I think he's going to get Greg Romand.
Seems like.
I think Devontae is now the number one. Nico seems to be, that entire offense just doesn't seem to be functioning as it should through him. So yeah, there's a bit of work to be done, and that score really held up by the D and kicker there, 13-12. Representing the second and third highest score behind the QB on the day. For Tom, I mean, I fancy that. Look at that. That's touchdown for London, Barkley, Swift, and Achan, all in double-digit teens. That's what you want to see. And Jordan Love, as you said, 3 TDs, 337 yards for 32 points. Huge score. So and even better to see it in action as well for Drake London. You've got to love it.
Absolutely.
Meant to be. But and by the way, this team can go better as well, because you look on the bench and you see DK Metcalf, who had that crazy TD.
Yeah.
But if he can come alive again, then yeah, we may see the resurgence that Tom needs after many years in the doldrums.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tom goes to 3-1 with that. Viv drops to 2-2. I should have said in our game as well. It's the same. You've gone to 3-1. I've gone to 2-2. Let's go on to the next game, which is make Kitchens great again against bucking the trend, and we're definitely getting the buzzsaw out for this one for a second week in a row for Ollie, I think, because he got absolutely waxed, 156 to 64. Talk about wide margins of loss last week. Chris, Ollie faced basically the exact same one in the very next week. So we'll start on Mike's side. I mean, 156 is the new high score in the season. Prescott 37, Pickens 25, and obviously that's the stack paying off big time there. Josh Jacobs 28. That game for Mike netted over 70 points, near enough 80 points, I think, just trying to do quick math. Bruce got 11, and Bucky Irvin got 21 as well. But again, we have another injury, Chris, so we'll get out the old thunderstorm, the pathetic fallacy. Yeah, I mean, you kind of called me up on saying it was kind of harsh to say Ollie's a bye week at this point in fantasy, and well, I mean, Mike did have a very good score, but he could have still won this one without a very good score, unfortunately for Ollie. So
absolutely Mike, that, yeah. So I didn't think we see another. Well, it's more than that, isn't it? It's a 92-point differential between the two teams, which is quite something. Mike will be thrilled about this. This might even be his all-time highest score in the league, I would go as far as saying.
Quite possible, yeah.
But yeah, that stack looks absolutely inspired at this point. It's like Dallas just don't care. Dallas is just going for points this season. They're going to be exciting. And if they're going to be exciting all year, that can only be a good thing for his fantasy team. Similarly with Jacobs, the bastion of consistency for that team, and has been for some seasons now, proving its worth at 27 points and change. And Bucky Irving at a cost, but 20 and a half. Who knows when we'll see him again for a while. But yeah, we shall see. But 155 points, you cannot argue with that, and it's very close. We are only 3 points over 2 players away from a perfect week. So wow, don't see many of them in a season. As for Ollie, no signs of life there. That team is dead on the table. Can't get the QB. Can't get the supporting cast. There are no stars. It is bleak. It is done. It is gone.
Remember, this is meant to be fun, Ollie. Don't take it too seriously.
I'm afraid so. At least the only way is up. You cannot get worse than that.
Absolutely. And my quick math was a little shy, by the way. 90 points from those 3 players in that Sunday night game for Mike. So again, not to rub salt in the wound, that would have beat Ollie on its own comfortably. So yeah, history of this matchup all time. Bucking the trend on now. 5-2 all time against Ollie's team. We both picked Mike in that one, so that would have been a frustrating one for us to pick wrong, but we did not, Chris, so it's fine.
Yeah.
We'll go to the next game, which was facing off 2-1 and 2 teams. 2-1 and 2 teams. Yeah, that's right, 1 and 2 teams playing against each other. Wensleydale, whatever they was last week, I've already forgotten. Owls, that's it, Owls. We're playing against Oakland Golden Bears. Ross's team did pick up another win here to get to 2-2, 81-74. We were split on this one, Chris. You got this one right, I get it wrong. Looking at the teams, Josh Allen thinks at 29, Garrett was 14. Not too much else to worry at home about there. And again, on the other side, not a great deal going on as well. Marion Hampton had a nice day with 23, and Kenneth Walker 11. Pacheco actually turned up for once for 11, but it didn't matter. The Packers D got 0, which wouldn't have helped. And again, the quarterback choice looking down there, Chris Bonix, who was in the lineup. Although to be fair, for Caleb to do that against the Raiders was a bit of a shock, but it was the difference in this game, Chris.
It was. We mentioned that it might be the case. Freddie absolutely hates Bonix. I'm sure he doesn't now. Well, maybe he does. He's scored on his bench.
No, because Caleb's on a bye this week, so for 1 week.
Yeah, we can't hate him this week.
Yeah.
So, but someone you should hate, Jamar Chase. That sucks. That is not ideal. And to be fair, no one else would have done anything different from the first overall. But that's cruel luck. Flashes though of something. Pacheco, Walker, and Hampton did well. That engine room there of running backs was the thing that you can really hang your hat on. But receiving core nowhere in QB. Unfortunately, did not get across the line. It is a very hollow win for me last week on this one because, as we kind of predicted, it's Josh Allen or bust for Ross.
Yeah.
Garrett also did well. Everyone else was pretty anemic. Whenever you see a stat line like that in a win, you just kind of go, well, there has to be one standout performer, and it seems as though there was.
Yeah, Josh Allen. And Ross narrowly avoids the music by getting that point, that all-important point. Ross is now 3-0 all-time against Freddie, so Freddie's never beaten Ross. We'll go to the next game, which was exciting against Benesistes, which was the 0-3 Bowl. This had a lot of intrigue going into this one. Both teams actually had a decent day. Once again, after a bit of a heartbreaker for Ben the week before, he followed it up again with 110 points. And again, my dad didn't do too badly himself with 89, but obviously not enough to top Ben. So my dad goes to 0-4. Ben picks up his first win to move to 1-3. Drake May leading the way with the 27. Quentin Johnston, who's been the waiver out of the season, I think it's fair to say so far, was 16. And the Lions defense with 24. They're on route to the win. Again, my dad's team didn't have a bad day. Murray got 20, Debo got 14, Jefferson 13, Eagles defense got 19 as well, but just not enough to outscore Ben. We had opposites in this one as well. Chris, you picked my dad, I picked Ben, so we flip-flopped there. And the history of this one all time now, I think Ixan is a whopping 15-7 against my dad all time, Chris.
Big scores. Look, there's a 20-point difference here, and which we know five's the defense. I mean, both defenses scored well, but big score from the Lions D there. And as we say quite a lot, if you scored 2 QB scores, you're likely to win. And Ben did do that this week and got himself across the line. But fair play. I'm going to put my hands up and say Jordan Addison was an inspired play.
Yeah, to be
again, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Cool. A pickup of the year, one of the pickups of the year. There wasn't that many other things to write about, but at the same time, is that they scored highly, even in the single digits. As for Dave's team, whenever you get Kyler Murray, you just don't know kind of what colours you're going to get. 2 picks on the day, kind of ruin his stat line there. Debo and JJ, not too bad. You'd expect to see that really, but yeah, the supporting cast again, not a lot to write home about. But unfortunately, as we've seen before, Chuba Hubbard there, down and out in this game,
and down and out this week as well. So we can play the old thunderstorm jingle.
So, but don't worry, look, underrated receiver of the year. Let's say Pittman and Worthy on the bench. And I think that's that.
Oh yeah, he's got some options. Yeah. Yeah.
It's got some options, and you can go away from running backs. It is at this point.
You are allowed to.
Montgomery and Brown, you probably have to. Yeah.
Well, Montgomery plays the Bengals this week, so but yes,
Yeah,
for last week maybe would have been. Oh, and my dad was again playing catch up after Montgomery scored 28 the week before, and obviously would have won him that game. Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Yeah, no, good call on that because we did ride that pick a bit, and okay, it doesn't change the result, and wasn't massively better than his other options, but and to be fair, it was one huge play that mainly made his day. But no, fair play, Ben. And then we get to definitely the most pulse-raising game of the week,
yes.
because we had the last undefeated team in the league in Great Scott facing off against Pat Stan, looking to keep the Portsmouth Division playoff race very interesting early on, and it was a nail-biter. Less than 0.5 points divided the two sides, and the buzzsaw through the heart of Coach Allen, the current champion, as Jeff takes 119.02 to 118.54, and what was nearly a furious Monday night comeback from Pat with Justin Fields, and I think did he have someone else in the Monday night game? I'm pretty sure he did. Was Cameron Dicker? Yeah, Cameron Dicker. But yeah, Jeff just outlasted him, who also had... no, sorry, I don't think it was Cameron Dicker, but I think Jeff also had someone in the Monday Night Football game. I can't remember. He won, it doesn't matter. But Justin Herbert nearly cost him the game in this one, actually. He only got 15 in this one, but it doesn't matter when you've got Puka dropping 23, Adinzo 13, McCaffrey dropping 20, Warren dropping 13, Myers with 12, and the Patriots did with 16. Pat, again, he's had a solid day as well. Aston Gentry finally turned up with the 32 points to go with the 19 from Eamon Rowe, and obviously that 29 from Justin Fields. But yeah, just still wasn't enough. Bold call from Pat to play Fields over Mayfield, but it was absolutely the right decision as well. And Jeff's bench as well kind of popped
stacked.
off. Extremely stacked. History of this one. Let's see, where are you on my sheet, Jeff? You were there. 1 and 2. Jeff gets his first win against Pat as well, Chris. And before I throw it over to you, we had a lock off in this one. You went with Pat, which is just fine by me because I obviously went with Jeff, which was the plan along for me. The juju I tried to put on Jeff did not work. Same with the juju you tried to put on him by locking Pat, Chris.
Indeed, it just didn't happen. But no, I mean, like, what match? And that sort of match, you just got to shake your hands and crack on. It's definitely a differently scored match. You look at the QBs, completely different. Fair play to Pat for trusting Justin Fields, but it is Ashton Genty for me that's the headline. We thought that he may well break out. This might have been the match, and it was. However, at what point, especially in a 34 to 10 point win, do you say to yourself that the stack doesn't work? So, Eamon Ra is absolutely the number one. I've got to go for that. But Jameson Williams, I'm not sure, man. It probably might be time to move on. But there's some pieces in there that are interesting to me. I think Scalaboo again is a great pickup too.
Yep.
For Jeff, them skill positions that he's got, absolutely you would be loving to see that this sort of time of the year. I don't think at the moment Adunze and Nakua can be matched in terms of receiving matchups in the league, and certainly the pairings. Tyler Warren again, great pickup off the waiver wire early doors, and McCaffrey showing that early season promise that he's absolutely fine. Plus some handy D and kicker points. And as we can see on the bench there, Gainwell, Dobbs, Harrison, Marks all score touchdowns. Gainwell and Dobbs score multi-touchdowns. There's a 25, 23, a 12, and a 23.9. Wow, 86 points on the bench, which would unfortunately still beat Ollie Gardner's team.
It would have beaten 3 teams on the week, in fact.
It would have beaten 3 teams. So not just you.
Sorry, 4. A third of the crazy. Good day.
Yeah, there's definitely some depth there. So no wonder he's 4-0, and certainly the pace there and the team to beat in the league.
Absolutely. So on the Pick'ems, Chris, I was 4-2 on the week. You were 500 at 3-3 again. So for the season, I'm 14-10. You are still at 500 at 12-12. On the locks, though, I'm up at 3-1. You've got some ground to make up on your locks, Chris. 1-3.
I was sucking that this year. But hey, look. Yeah, not by much. We're going to get there. We've got a long way to go.
You're only a lock over 500 all time now. The pressure's building.
Whoa.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go to in the news. just transaction-wise, I just noted down, but we already covered it. Obviously, you have dropped Tyreek Hill, Chris, obviously because of his season-ending injury. Fairly blow to your team, but to be honest with you, I don't think you'd really been playing him since early in the year anyway, so it doesn't really detract, I suppose, too much from what you're doing. In terms of notable transactions, Ixan did Justice Hill. If it was just that, I wouldn't be mentioning it, but he did spend $25 for the privilege, Chris, which I know Ben's gonna get some extra funds probably even after the next update, but that's a lot of money for Justice Hill. I know he kind of blew up with that really long touchdown stuff, but
yeah, for sure,
an interesting one.
Sure.
And sorry, go on.
See.
We'll
see if that's worth there's a cost benefit ratio to that.
Yeah,
but half your points for the year, or half your money for the year, I know, as you say, you might make it back, but I don't know, man.
Interesting. And you also splashed the cash a bit this week as well. $10 for Hunter Henry and $8 for Harrison Butker.
Yeah, I mean, I think Harrison Butker could be my kicker for the season. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. I think it's a long-term investment that might pay off. Hunter Henry, on the other hand, we'll see. Let's see if I can pick someone up for cheap and feel better about that.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, again, you might at some point see a little bit of funds come back the other way, and
yeah, you never know. Even if I don't, last year I didn't spend anything. I got to the point where I was quite happy and just like moseyed on down the end of the season and didn't spend anything. So, it's all very well said. I got money in the bank, but.
Yeah, may as well use it. Exactly. What are the standings and stuff now? So Southampton division, 2 3-1 teams. Mike is still in the lead in the division. I think he was last week as well. But Tom's Torrance also at 3-1 as well. But Mike is edging Tom by about 80 points. So yeah, bit of that's like an extra win already at this early stage. At 2-2, we have Ross's team, which this week is the Old England Redcoats, and the Dream Team now at 2-2 as well. Yeah, he's going there. And then at 1-3, it's very visually pleasing, the Southampton division, because they've got 2 teams at each record interval. Oakham Golden Bears and Mate Kitchen's great again. They're at 1-3. Interestingly, the points is nearly completely perfectly ordered. The only one that messes it up is Tom. Otherwise, it's all in order of points there. Just it's kind of like a scoregami type vibe. Yeah. Portsmouth division, Great Scott, the last undefeated team, remains undefeated at 4-0. Followed by your team, Chris, at 3-1, and then we've got 2-2 teams in my team and Pat's. And then 1-3 team in Ben, and the only remaining 0-4, the only remaining winless team now, my dad at 0-4 at the bottom. In terms of general stuff league-wide, there is 5 teams over 400 points at the moment, 4 of which reside in the Portsmouth division. The only other one is Mike's team. I am still the highest scoring team, albeit the margin is narrowed. You're, I think, second, with about 18 behind me, Chris, and then Jeff's about 12 behind you, and then Mike's a little bit behind that, and then there's Pat as well. In terms of lowest points, that goes to Ollie. He's the only team not to crack 300, and cover your ears, Ollie, you are about 45 points short of 300, so that is notably lower than the next closest, which is Freddie at the 313.
Absolutely. And can I just make a point here as well, is that we once derided Ollie for being the Gypsy King, and it was a proper deriding. This year, you cannot say that, because not only is he the lowest scoring team, but he's also the highest points against as well. So he's had no chance at reclaiming that title this season.
This is what we talk about in the industry as regression to the mean. I think it's what you're saying, Chris. To put a statistical spin on that very astute piece of analysis. Yes. We may as well stay on that front. There are, let me do some quick counting. 1, 2, 3, 4 teams who have conceded 400 points or more. As you say, Chris, Ollie's team is one of them. The other 3 are in the Portsmouth division, you being one of them, Ben being another, and my dad being the last. So it's no surprise that obviously Ben and my dad, or Ollie, to be fair, all have a 1-3 or 0-4 record. You were the only one bucking the trend in that regard. There are still some other fairly high conceded points teams, me being one of them with 391. Pat and Jeff also have about 378 conceded as well, so we're all certainly in the upper bound. And the other side of that, Tom remains the lowest conceded conceding team. He has yet to concede 300 points. He's sitting at 291 at the moment. And again, if you look at the difference between the divisions, both points forward and points against, there's a notable difference still that remains, even though if the margin has narrowed slightly. So playoffs, as if the season were to end today, it would be bucking the trend and Great Scots, the division winners. They'd both get the bye. Obviously, Jeff would be the regular season winner. You would have the traditional wildcard, Chris, as would Tom's Tyrants, and I would be the points forward wildcard. As it stands at the moment, if we take a look at the breakdown, you are now at the top, tied with Jeff here, Chris. After a 10-1 week last week, I'm only one win behind the both of you at 34-10, and then Pat at 29-15, again not far behind me. So again, all the top 4 teams here, all Portsmouth teams. Mike does check in at 5 though after his 11-0 week, so he's got 27-17. Ben picks up his first win. He's got 23-21, so with a 1-3 record, that's obviously a bit unjust, and then kind of it's everybody else you'd expect. My dad's team 15-29, again just punctuating that he is rather unfortunate to be 0-4, especially when you have the likes of Tom's Tyrants at 15-29 as well, who are 3-1, and then you've got Freddie's team at 1-3, 12-32, and yeah, once again Ollie, again, you might just want to mute the podcast at this point if you're listening, Ollie. 2-42 on the year. Three straight 0-11 weeks, Chris.
Oh. History being made there.
I don't think we've ever seen, I hate to say it, we've never seen a team this bad for a stretch. I'm not saying your team is the worst ever in the LCL, but for a stretch, this has to be among the worst we've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't. The thing is, on paper, it doesn't look that bad. Like, it's not, like you say, it's not great, but like, it's not like a team you would look at and be like, oh, you know, it's anyway. If we go to the coach score, so Pat's at the top here. So he's obviously one of the highest scoring teams, so maximising those points. Ben's doing a pretty good job in squeezing the juice from the roster. Same for Mike and Viv. I have slowly been climbing the leaderboard. I did start very near the bottom, but last couple of weeks I've left very little on the bench. So I'm now around mid-table. Jeff, similar. He left 40 points on the bench last week, actually, but obviously he still scored well and won, so didn't matter. Chris, again, you're climbing the ranks as well, similar to me. You left some points early, but sort of building it up again. Again, we can look at Ollie's team. He has had some points on the bench. One wonders if that could have made the difference, and then sort of go low down. My dad is leading the charge, though, obviously at 0-4 again. He hasn't scored awfully, but it could have been a lot better with 85 points left on the bench. Similar to Ross's team, 73, but obviously we know a large chunk of that was the Vikings defence in whatever week it was. So that's the standings and stats. No notable milestones or anything this week. You can go ahead and read this week's edition of the Co-Pilot Power Rankings if you want. Trade block for my team, Bashal Tootin, Jake Ferguson, Tony Pollard and Darren Waller are on the block. If you would like to trade for any of those guys, please reach out to me. But with that, we will move on to the previews. Okay, so for week 5, we are going. We are staying in the divisions, I think.
We are outside of the divisions.
We are outside of the divisions, thank you. So it's an inter-divisional week this week. Yes, we absolutely are. So we have Gridiron Gang against Oakland Golden Bears. We have Make Kitchens Great again against Pat Stam, which is, of course, Coronavirus 16 rematch. The Shithouse Bowl returns. Forge Flyers against Bucking the Trend, which is obviously the Waypoint Bowl. Dream Team against Bare Necessities. That obviously features 4 winless team. We have Old England Redcoats against Ixan, which I've nicknamed the Acronym Bowl, because if you're going to abbreviate all of that, there's a lot of letters going on there. And Great Scott against Tom's Tyrants. Which obviously reaches the last undefeated team in the league. Chris, where do you want to go for the marquee matchup this week?
So, Nath, it's quite an underwhelming week in terms of genuine matchups, and I think that there are a lot of teams out there that don't have many plus points for me. They really don't. I'm struggling here, but I'm going to go with, I think, a bit of a running back off between yourself and Freddie.
Okay, I'm in the Mikey matchup for back-to-back weeks. Love it. There we go. So yeah, let's take a look at the game then. So my team against Freddie's team. I'm at 2-2. Freddie's at 1-3. We're both coming off a loss. Projections have this one favoured in my side, 96 to 87. I also have 36 points on the board, courtesy of Matthew Stafford, who scored 32 last night, and the Ramsey, who only got 4. In terms of lineup changes, my latest rando of the week is Darren Waller starting for me to go with the fixed lineup of everybody else. So I'm going with the 31 personnel. Actually, no, I didn't last week, so I went with Matthew Golden, but I have tried that out before. For Freddie, Bo Nix does come into the starting lineup, Chris, because Caleb is on a bye. And then I believe he is unchanged beyond that, so he's going with the 30 personnel, as you say, Chris. Bit of a running back off the history of this matchup all time. I am 0-1, so I lost the first meeting against both of us last season. Oh yeah, the other obvious lineup change for me is I played Matthew Stafford, because obviously Lamar Jackson is not going to play with his hamstring injury. If you'd have told me when I woke up this morning, Chris, that I'd have had 36 points from the Thursday night game, I'd have been fairly happy with that. When I then saw that 32 came from Matt Stafford, I was obviously very happy. But that obviously meant 4 only came from the Rams, which I was a bit like, what the fuck? How the hell did you only do that against that backup-laden Niners team? But there we go.
Oh, the absolute reserve team. And Mac Jones was on one leg.
Literally. So, I'm throwing up by the end of it.
Yeah, so fair play to that dude. I mean, yeah, that's showing some toughness there.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford style toughness, may I add. So yeah, look, I think this is interesting in a number of ways. Because the first thing is we take a look at the running backs here. I think all of them have merit in the matchups that they have. I really do. You know, you look at Dobbins, Cook, and Gibbs. I think again, league wide, I think that's very, very balanced. And we've seen some really good production from each of them so far. Mm-hmm. Say Dobbins in double figures for everything, as is Cook, and you know we're talking like high teens and early 20s. And Gibbs, apart from a stuttering week 1, has been much the same. So yep. Those guys have been the cornerstone of your season, and topping, as you mentioned there, topping the 31.5 points from last night's game. Cortland Sutton is going to get plenty of looks, I would expect, and especially as they're playing against Bo Nix on the other side, and Darren Waller, who comes in, who's going to be a bit of a red zone target, as he was in the last game. I think you've got a really, really balanced team there. On the other side, there's upside everywhere except for Devontae Smith. But if you're gonna play him in a game, it's this one against that secondary, which is going to wipe out AJ Brown. AJ Brown's not going to be a thing. You're going to throw it somewhere. Probably going to be there on the tight end. Jamar Chase has to have a better game, and against Detroit, yeah, he's got an opportunity to do that. But again, it should be a strong play. The issue is just the Bengals, and then those 3 running backs, Pacheco, Walker, and Hampton. They're gonna have to. All those offenses have started to trend up, especially with Pacheco last week and only scored. Mm-hmm. That's helpful. Walker's, we know what he can be on his day, and Hampton is going to get Greg Roman the fuck out of, I think, going forward. And he's going to get used. Cardinals D against Tennessee's great player as well. Titans are garbage this season. Yeah. Might as well write that off. And you've got to think that Detroit are going to get in some pretty good scoring positions for the kicker. So I think it's going to be closer than you think. It's a QB conundrum there for Freddie. He's going to have to trust Bo Nix in Philly, mm-hmm. which I would be a little bit a bit hesitant about. I think it's going to be your team, Nathan. I think your team has the absolute solidity in this game, but it wouldn't surprise me if Freddie was more punchy than he was last week. Yeah,
Freddie's shown a bit more life, certainly, after a slow start. I agree. This will, from my perspective, be the sort of week where Jamar Chase shows up, and that might well be the difference here in this one. I'm still not. Yeah, you kind of hit on it. I mean, Hampton clearly is, after a slow start, obviously with Najee going now, he's clearly going to be legit. It is a tougher matchup for Walker, and I think the Jags defense for the Chiefs as well, because the Chiefs really haven't shown that they can run the ball fairly competently this week. Like you say, Pacheco obviously got the touchdown last week, but it was the most cakiest of matchups possible against that Ravens team. Brashard Smith is working in, so I'm not as hot on Walker and Pacheco as you might necessarily be, which obviously then puts further pressure elsewhere on the team, but it could make up for it. I'm going to lean my team just by a sliver as well. I've obviously got the points in the bag from the quarterback, albeit the D score has obviously let me down, especially when Freddie's got a juicy one on the other side. Just as the kind of, I suppose, the thing to tilt the balance, as you mentioned, he's obviously got Bo Nix. I do have Colton Sutton, so if Bo Nix has a good game, it's obviously possible he does without Sutton being overly involved, but you would expect, it's going to negate Nix to a degree, and where I do have that good quarterback score, that helps. So, going to lean my team based on that. Injury-wise, I already mentioned about Jackson. Tootin's going to play. He's had a shoulder thing since week 1, I think. Trent Tracy is doubtful, so will not play. Not that Freddie was probably going to play him. Anyway, so we'll go to the next game then, which is the Corona Bowl 16 rematch. Mike Kitchen's great again, takes on Pakistan. Obviously, all these teams 1-3. Just looking to get some points on the board, obviously. More than anything, whereas Pakistan at 2-2, obviously looking to keep up in the Ports division themselves. Pat is predicted to win this one 92-76. Again, I feel like I said it last week, that is an awfully low projection for a team that is starting all healthy players. But it is just sort of, as we know, where obviously Ollie's team unfortunately is. In terms of lineup changes, I think I'm not entirely sure actually. He might be unchanged since last week, or has Waddle come in for someone possibly? Not entirely sure. Ollie's going with 11 personnel though, 1 running back, a tight end, and 3 receivers. On the other side for Pakistan, I think Pat is unchanged at the moment, so yeah, he's going with the 20 personnel. This matchup all time, Pakistan is 5-9 against Ollie, so the matchup history would favour Ollie Chris, but I have a feeling that the end result is probably, I shudder to say, going to be a Pakistan win. What do you think?
I think you're probably right there. I mean, you look at Ollie's team, and Jared Goff, apart from his 42-point blowout in week 2, has only scored mid-teen points for the rest of his matches. I just don't think there you need to expect, even though he's playing the Bengals, but I'm not willing to do an awful lot to do that. And even so, even if he did Amon Ra and Jameson Williams on the other side, not ideal. You got 3 misfiring receivers for various reasons. Brian Thomas was right out of it. In contrast to what we thought he might be this season, McMillan and Waddle have challenging situations on its own. Though Waddle has a bit more of an uptick this week, obviously with Tyreek Hill's injury. I think Carolina are in a funk, and as talented as McMillan is, I just don't think he's in the right situation. As you consistently mention every week, Brock Bowers doesn't look fit, and Brock Bowers isn't playing like he's fit. And Krosky Merritt, again, you can't hang your hat on him with other options in that team. Bills D against New England as well. I don't think that's as much of a romp as it perhaps was in recent times. And on the bench, you can't really look to that for any sort of light. For Pat, I think that he saw the light last week. I think Justin Fields might be somewhat of the answer. Playing Dallas, who seems to be getting into boat races with a lot of teams recently, so I'd feel good about that. As I said, the 2 receivers are playing against the quarterback on the other side. No issues there. Olave against a weak Giants team. Genty is just coming off a big game. Scaboo we've seen has been a beacon of consistency so far in a crap team. And the Browns D, who have won single-handedly games on their own against Carson Wentz, who, as we know, is susceptible. But they are playing in this fair country. So, I think you're right. Pakistan win.
Yep.
Sorry, Ollie, but yeah, I'm just not seeing it, man.
I'm going to go ahead and lock that up here as well. That passes the mirror test. It's a 0-0 game. Come on, surely. Come on.
What do you think, viewers? What do you think? The man who said, it's like having a bye week. He's just going to...
Okay, fine. No, lock retracted. I will use it elsewhere.
Yeah, that's good. You got to be bolder than that, man. Bolder than that.
But no, I'm definitely picking Pat here as well. Well, I think it could be a better week for Ollie, actually, to say, because I think there's something there with Waddle potentially. Obviously, now that Hill was obviously injured for the year. He's going to be the leading receiver for the Dolphins. I know you said he's obviously not had the best of starts, but this could be his best game of the season because the Miami Dolphins isn't great. It's not going to be enough though, because between Thomas Bowers and Christian Merritt, they're just not going to put up huge numbers. We just need to see Thomas get going. Bowers just needs to get healthy, and Christian Merritt, obviously he's in a 3-way timeshare, so it's not ideal. For Pat, it might not be the best of weeks, which is why I felt like this was in the lockable zone, because I didn't think it was going to be a romping week for Pat necessarily. Very juicy matchup for Justin Fields, because the Dallas defense sucks, and that's all I'm going to say on Pat's team. CeeDee Lamb is not going to play, as he obviously continues to grapple with his high ankle sprain. Evans is out still with his hamstring injury as well. We'll go to Forge Flyers against Bucking the Trend next, which is the Waypoint Bowl, 2 3-1 teams. This one looks to have a fairly reasonably close projection, 88-84 in favour of Mike's team. So staying on Mike's side, Michael Carter comes into the starting lineup for Josh Jacobs, who goes on to bye, and I think he was playing Hall and Jadkins last week, so he's going with the 30 personnel. For you, Chris, it is a bit of change. Stephon Diggs and Ramondre Stevenson are in the lineup at the moment in favour of AJ Brown and Bijan Robinson, who is on a bye himself. So you are going with the 30 personnel as well. The history of this matchup all time, you, Chris, are 4-3 against Mike's team. So you're both of you, to be fair, are in a bit of bye and injury nado. But do you fancy your chances this week still?
I don't. I think you're right. This is the week that Tyreek Hill was required, and he's not there. So there. But no, I think for me, AJ Brown's an issue. AJ Brown's had one good game. The rest of the time he scored either less than the point or 2.7, and that is no good. So he's done for this week. I think he's going to get wiped out by Denver anyway. So we're left with hanging our hat in New England, and New England aren't so bad at the moment. So they're getting something going. If we know anything about Mike Vrabel's teams, to say it takes a little while to get going, but once they do, they get going. I'm not feeling particularly confident about starting either of them, to be honest. But hey, we've got to start someone. But I am more confident about ETN.
Chris, go with Rico Dowdle.
So, Rico Dowdle? Where is he? Is he hanging around?
Yeah, he's out there. Go at him.
Is he?
Add him over Hunter Henry and play him over Stevenson. Thank me later.
I don't even know.
I don't think anyone's added Rico Dowdle. I would have done it myself, but running backs I don't really especially need at the moment. So, but for
You're right.
Yeah, Rico Dowdle.
Cheers, dude.
You're welcome.
I didn't even see that. Yeah, thank you. See you later, Tyler Algier.
Oh wow, the handcuff is gone. Damn.
What a shame. What a bi-week handcuff. That's exactly what you need. So we're going to do it. We're going to do it on the
You don't know what Bijan's doing this bye week. He might be jet skiing for all you know.
Well, he needs to do better. But no, I think we know. So let's go with that. Right. So let's update that as we go. I didn't even see. Anyway, let's have a refresh. Rico Dowdle. Let's talk about him. Great shout. Rico Dowdle against Miami. He's gonna do really well. Let's be honest. Last year he did excellently.
Yeah, he was good. He was good, decent for me.
He was good. Yeah. He was good. So look, Rico Dowdle, new to Forge Flyers, just in. Well done.
Breaking news.
Javonte and Travis Etienne. I think that's a reasonable engine room this week. Plus Booker and Diggs, who are extremely target heavy, or at least you think you would be, and Mahomes against Jacksonville, who, let's be honest, coming off a 35-point week, should try and light it up again. Seahawks D versus Tampa as well. The banged up Tampa defense. Banged up Tampa offense. Looking forward to that. Thank you. This is sometimes just help is what you need.
Exactly. Yeah. We're all friends.
However, I'm going to lock Mike, and the reason why I'm going to do that is for much the same reasons as last week. Dallas and the Jets face off, and he has 3 players in that game, and I think that's going to be a bit of a bit of an interesting one. I think it could be very to and fro. Texans against Baltimore as well. I quite like that. Bearing in mind Cooper Rush is playing for Baltimore, but let's be honest here. Judkins and Carter could see an awful lot of touches, and I think Judkins, by the way, is one of those running backs that could be very much in the ascendancy throughout the course of the second half of the season. I'm feeling really good for Mike this week. I'm feeling positive about his chances. He's come off a 155-point week. Even if he regresses a little bit, that's still plenty enough to beat me in this week. We're a bit on the ropes, but Big Rico, come at me.
Well, because you've got Rico Dowdle, I'm picking your team now. So, actually, to be fair, I am picking your team, and that might have actually swung the needle because I mean, Michael Carter, I get what Mike's going for, and he's purely doing this because of the bye week injury situation. I'll add as well. Obviously, he's without Bucky, which has led him directly to this, but we've no idea how much he's going to touch the ball. He profiles to be the early downs guy over DiMarcado, but yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a leap of faith. Judkins is playing, against a fairly tough Minnesota defense, and it's going to be Dylan Gabriel's first start across seas. So if that Vikings defense isn't just zeroing in on the run and saying to Dylan Gabriel, "Come on," then I don't know what really we're doing here. You are right. It is all about Prescott, Pickens, and Hall that game, I think. But the Jets, I think, have a habit of slowing games right down, so it might just cap the upside. And that's sort of what I'm using scientifically to base my pick of your team on. JSN should have a decent day because, the weakness of the Bucs D is the secondary, that they're obviously better against the run. Your team has been good, obviously, as we know. I mean, both these teams have been good, but your team has been very good. Yes, you're not quite at your full strength, but you've still got a lot of your good pieces there. So, for me, that's going to be probably enough for you to take the W. So, yeah. Injury-wise, is there anything else? McLaurin, as you said, is out with his oblique or whatever it is he's dealing with. Yeah, Trey Benson's now on IR after he kind of popped up after that game with or last week with an injury that escalated quite quickly. And yeah, as we say, Bucky Irvin is out with I think it's some sort of foot sprain or something like that. So we'll go to the Dream Team against Bare Necessities next. So yeah, Bare Necessities still searching for their first win. The Dream Team at 2-2 at the moment. They are projected to win this one at the moment, 85-76. Viv does have 9 points courtesy of Devontae Adams already. Let's take a look at the lineup. So for the Dream Team, Zach Charbonnet comes in favour of Malik Neighbours, who is obviously now on IR. So Viv is going with the 20 personnel. My dad's team, he has put Jaden Daniels in. He is back. So he takes the place of Kyler Murray. He does still have Chuba Hubbard as a lineup, though that does explain the lower projection. So that will go up, and he will replace him with one of Michael Pittman or Chase Brown, probably the former. He has also brought Xavier Worthy into the starting lineup, who he didn't have him in last week. Who did he have last week? Might have been a play. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's fine.
Jalen Warren probably in there somewhere.
He was injured last week, though, wasn't he? That's why. Chase Brown. No, it was Chase Brown. What am I talking about? Sorry.
Chase Brown. Yeah, of course, he's there.
He's there. So my dad's going with the 20 personnel. Is this the week, Chris? My dad finally gets a win on the board.
Well, he's got himself his stack back, which is something. But yeah, I mean, Debo looked all right in the first 4 games. There's no issue there. And Jaden Daniels, we mustn't forget, first couple of games nice and solid. So I think that gets the solidity back. I think we've seen Worthy be used in a role that is befitting a number one there in his 1 game back. We talked about Montgomery earlier on. Should be having a better day against Cincy. And, class is permanent with JJ, but against a tough defense, let's be honest. Let's assume that Chase Brown might come back in, or we might see Michael Pittman if he's fit. I would put Michael Pittman in if he was fit because, he's in that offense, and that offense is doing really well at the moment. Mm-hmm. But even so, I think that team has probably got enough because on the other side, Jaden's going to be running a lot. I can't see much passing action going on in there. we've seen Nico have difficult days, though he's playing Baltimore, as we said earlier, a bit banged up. Mason and Charbonnet, yeah, and McConkey, again, I just can't rely on him. You can't hang it out. Colts D versus Vegas should do all right as well. But hey, look, I think Dave has been unlucky in some games. He's been blasted out, and Devontae is only scoring 8 points or nearly 9 points yesterday. I think he's probably got enough. I think he's got enough talent in that team, despite Chuba not playing. So yeah, I'm going to go with Ben Necessities on a bit of a flyer this week.
And you want bold locks, Chris? You're going to get one because I'm locking the 0-4 team in here.
Woo!
Obviously, assuming that he does. Well, he will change Chuba up and up, but yeah, presuming it's going to be Michael Pittman. Yeah, because Daniel's come back, like you said, the stack with Debo. Debo's going to be the number one receiver again. He's dealing with a little bit of a heel injury, but should play. And they're probably going to be chasing points, I think, against the Chargers, quite possibly. Montgomery should feast against the Bengals, you would think. Worthy is going to be the Chiefs' receiver one, and obviously, at least until Rashee Rice comes back. Even the Eagles D could do well against Denver. Obviously, Viv on the other side has Jalen Hurts. We'll see what he does. But yeah, I just don't know. It just doesn't get me too excited. The trio of Mason, Charbonnet, and McConkey, they're just factoring their matchups as well. It's doesn't profile, I think, as you spoke about it as well. Obviously, Dream Team being boom bust doesn't seem like a boom week, and you already mentioned that the ceiling's obviously lower. With Neighbours being out, albeit outside of one game, he wasn't exactly contributing much to this Dream Team either. But yeah, my dad gonna get the first win here, I think. Elsewhere in Rise, Ridley is questionable. I think he's dealing with some sort of elbow thing, but it doesn't really matter anyway, to be quite honest, because he's been awful. Pittman's questionable, but he should play, and obviously Hubbard's been ruled out, and that's it. Next game then, Old England Redcoats take on Ixan. The former is 2-2, Ixan is 1-3. They're projected to win though, and get up to 2 with the rejection 97-93. I do have 23 points on the board as well, courtesy of Kyron Williams. From last night's game, sticking on Ben's side, I think Nick Chubb has come into the lineup for... I'm not exactly sure who. Maybe he was playing last week anyway. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's fine. He's going with the 30 personnel this week anyway. And then on Ross's side of the board, he is unchanged. So he's going with, what a surprise, he's going with the 11 personnel, a running back and a tight end. The history of this matchup all time. Ixan is 9-5 against Ross's team. Again, Chris, I kind of feel like Garrett Wilson could get involved, but beyond that, it's kind of going to be him and Josh Allen or bust. Maybe the Vikings D gets involved. Is that going to be enough to defeat Ben?
Well, you're going to have to assume Ben's going to bring in his new shiny toy in Justice Hill. Spending that much money to put it on Ben. But yeah, you're right. I think John is Josh Allen or bust maybe. I think we talk about this Dallas Jets game. I just got a feeling about it. I think it's just going to be a bit of a random big scoring game. And with just the sheer lack of QB in Baltimore, I think Derrick Henry's going to see some work. But the biggest headline for Ross is the absolute lolathon that could be the Vikings D against Dylan Gabriel. And it could be. It could be just horrendous.
Let's pump the brakes, because Ben also has the Lions D against the Jake Browning-led Cardinals with an O-line that's basically a turnstile.
Yeah, fair. So maybe, but if anyone attending that game, prepare to be called 999 because Dylan Gabriel is going to get. He's going to get pounded, man.
You know what the worst thing is? They could have at least made sure on the backups that when he does, it would be interesting. But no, Joe Black.
No, exactly that. It's just not happening. So yeah, I haven't really got many good things to say about Ross's team at present. I have to say, I think Zay Flowers is a bit of a busted flush, especially with no QB, or at least a limited QB. Kelsey is now a major celebrity, but isn't a football player anymore. And T Higgins is well. T Higgins.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, T Higgins has had a disappointing year, But when you say it's team high yardage in total and loss, and that's 32 yards, that's not good.
I was going to say Ross's team is kind of the washed team. It feels like between Henry, Kelsey, Higgins, maybe Flowers after week 1.
Derrick Henry, man. A sad but true case. That's it. Everyone feels a bit older when they get to 31. But for Ben's team, look, I think that we've seen him put up some pretty consistent scoring at the moment. I don't see that being much different. I think Drake May might be Drake May's most difficult opposition so far, just in the face of what it means.
Mm-hmm.
But Buffalo beatable. Don't get me wrong, Buffalo beatable. That defense is beatable. But I think again with that those points from Kyron Williams, that sort of safeguards a QB score anyway. And you've got to assume that Jonathan Taylor's going to absolutely go off on Vegas, as well as a bit of D score. Johnston and Addison, particularly Johnston, I think you're going to have more of an opportunity to perhaps do well there. So I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a bit of a D off, but Ben's going to take it.
Yeah, I picked Ben too. I have nothing else to add. Injury-wise, clean bit of health for these two as well. That's nice for them. Let's go to the last game of the week, which is Great Scott against Tom's Tyrants. So, the last undefeated team, 4-0, and Tom's Tyrants is 3-1. And I think Jeff is probably prepped to go to 5-0 because he is projected to win this one, 96 to 45 currently. I will explain the 45 momentarily. I will first reference the 34 points Jeff has already scored. Courtesy of Poker Nakua got 15 and Christian McCaffrey who got 20. He has also brought Marvin Harrison into his lineup and Woody Marks, fresh off his huge emergence game. Because he has a bit of bye week trouble with Roma Dunze, and he's also dropped Tyler Warren to the bench. So he is going with 30 personnel. Meanwhile, for Tom, he is obviously probably around the Great Smoky Mountains or something at the moment, not really sure. But he clearly hasn't checked his team. He has 4 players on a bye currently, half the side. Fortunately, though, he does have replacements for 3 of the 4 on his bench, and the 4th is a defense who he can easily rectify once he obviously updates his lineup. So that projection will get significantly better, but just so you can kind of follow along. So Daniel Jones will come in at quarterback. Drake London.
Yes, he will.
Yes, he will. Yes, for the first time. DeAndre Swift will drop to the bench. They're on buys for just based on who he has. Wandale Robinson and Chris Godwin. And then insert rando free agent defense here, which I don't think there's really any enticing options left out there, Chris. But something is obviously better than nothing. So, I kind of feel like Jeff's probably going to go to 5-0, Chris.
I think so. I think this is it's in a spot of disarray this week. I think Tom's team. I mean, if you're going to go and pick somebody up, go for just a contrarian one. Go and pick up the Panthers D or something. You can pick the Dolphins D up against Carolina. That'd be funny. Anyway, as you're right. There's no sexy picks there. No, Jeff's been on a mad one recently, and I think that again when you've got that amount of points, he's got 34.5 points from a Thursday night game. That's a great start. As well as just plum matchups everywhere. You look there, Herbie against Washington, you got Harrison against Tennessee, who are going to get pumped. Kamara against the Giants, who are going to get pumped. Marks against Baltimore, we talked at length about their defense in this. Just skill positions everywhere for fun, and absolutely are going to do Tom over, because even though MVP candidate Daniel Jones comes in at QB, and against in a pretty good matchup too, I don't trust Wandale and Godwin in any shape or form this week to do what they got to do. HN and Barkley do a hell of a lot of lifting, and hopefully Keenan Allen rolls back the years, but it's just not going to happen against that team with its current advantage. It is Jeff all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And all I'm going to add is, once again, not that I'm salty, don't really know what the Rams' game plan was against the Niners. When McCaffrey's literally the only healthy weapon in their offense, it's let's just drop everyone back to the first down sticks and let them throw it to him every time. That'll work well. And for Jeff, it did.
Sean McVay's a generational coach, man.
Well, on offense, saying that on offense, that terrible decision right at the end of the game as well. That was
Yeah.
just the worst play. Matthew Stafford is absolutely slinging it the entire game, and that's what you do with the game on the line. Awful.
Do you know what he's gone there? He's gone to the Pete Carroll school of play calling.
Was he thinking of Pete Carroll when he made that play call? Did he psych himself out?
You know what happens.
Yeah.
You know what happens.
Yeah. But anyway.
It's been replayed over and over again.
Yes. Oh, yes, it has. Yes. I can't remember if I said I'll cook Jeff as well. So there you go. Just to confirm. And that is the pod. Another good week. So bye weeks are here. We've had the first additional hit of waiver funds. We've obviously seen some money spent this week as a result of it. We'll obviously be back next week. We're in October now as well. It does fly. Thanks for joining as always, Chris.
Absolutely, my pleasure being here. This is good being here. This is Friday Night Live here.
Friday Night Lights.
But good luck all.
Yes, good luck. And have a good weekend, everybody. Oh, before I forget as well, no games of mine this weekend because I am obviously going to the games. But best of luck, everybody. Have a good weekend. Best of luck, unless you're playing me, of course. Goodbye, everybody.